Another domino could potentially fall in what has been a testing time for the financial sector. Here with the details is Yahoo Finance's Akiko Fujita. Akiko.
Good morning to you, Inez. Well, after the failures of early March, banks have been on high alert over the state of the financial sector and specifically the so-called regionals. And that is what we're talking about this morning. It all, of course, began with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year. They, of course, were a key lender to the tech startup community. The Fed has been given some of the blame for starting the turmoil by raising rates high and fast. SVB was largely hit by interest rate risk. Essentially, when bond yields go up, the value of the bonds fall, and they were sitting on a lot of them. That's the story with SVB. Now, earlier this week, First Republic became the second largest bank to fall as the contagion grew and its deposits slumped. And this morning, PacWest Bancorp is apparently on the chopping block. Shares plummeting. You see it down more than 50% here following confirmation of a Bloomberg report that it was weighing strategic options, including a sale. Now, PacWest looking to get out ahead of the messaging here to ease some of the jitters in the market, saying in a statement that the bank has not experienced deposit flows that are out of the ordinary, adding that the bank's cash and available liquidity, in their words, remains solid and exceed uninsured deposits. We've also heard from the company as well, trying to sort of ease some of those concerns. Now, analysts were quick to take action as D.A. Davidson downgraded the stock to neutral. Meanwhile, other regional bank names are also falling to the red as PacWest reignites banking fears. One of the ones we're watching specifically is Western Alliance. Shares there halted in this session. You saw it take steep cuts earlier in the week. And we have also heard from Western Alliance reportedly saying that a report of a deal is absolutely false, specifically as it relates to that bank. Now, signs of worry over PacWest Bancorp came shortly after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell reassured Americans in a press conference just yesterday on the soundness of the U.S. banking system. Take a listen.
The U.S. banking system is sound and resilient. We will continue to monitor conditions in the sector. I think that the resolution and sale of First Republic kind of draws a line under that period of, is an important step toward drawing a line under that period of severe stress.
Now, despite those comments from Jay Powell, in light of the new stress point that is PacWest, Pershing Square Capital Management CEO Bill Ackman is now sounding off on a warning on regional banks, saying, quote, banking is a confidence game. At this rate, no regional bank can survive bad news or bad data as a stock price plunge inevitably follows. Insured and uninsured deposits are withdrawn, and pursuing strategic alternatives means an FDIC shutdown over the weekend or over the coming weekend. No doubt regulators will be keeping a close eye as Michael Barr, the vice chairman of the supervision of the Fed, along with the FDIC chair, Martin Gruenberg, are scheduled to testify later this month on those bank failures. Inez?
Yeah, Akiko, and it's interesting. I mean, you mentioned Bill Ackman, also ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood, just saying in an interview that she thinks that this banking contagion is accelerating. I mean, look, the markets seem to also think that as well. We saw a lot of pressure on the regional banks earlier this week, and we saw the comments that Jamie Dimon said. We saw the comments that we have spoken to analysts also that have said, okay, well, this seems to be contained right now. But obviously the market's thinking differently.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see just the diversion in terms of comments coming. The big banks, you mentioned Jamie Dimon. We also heard from Citi's Jane Fraser earlier this week saying that, look, the fact that big banks are able to step in, the fact that they are able to step in and essentially rescue some of these regional banks points to the fact that this is not a repeat of 2008. That's not what's going on right now. At the same time, Inez, I know you've been talking about this a lot as well, but since SVB, there's been a lot of conversation about how rapidly these things could really pick up, partly because of digital banking, partly because of social media. Things are happening at a very quick pace right now. The minute somebody hears that potentially one bank could be on the chopping block, there could be some concerns about deposit outflows, that tends to get accelerated really quickly. Again, worth noting, though, the focus has been on the regional banks, not the big banks. But of course, You look at the market and how it's responded, big concern right now about who could be next to fall.
Yeah, and we have seen that divergence between the regionals and the big banks. The regionals, much more pressure on those shares as well. Thanks so much, Akiko.